Hey everybody, welcome back to Alpha Cave. Here we are once again. I'm taking a break from getting ready for the Super Bowl party, so I can talk a little bit of stocks now. And the biggest news that's been going on over the last few days has been the coronavirus and how it's affecting stocks and how the markets are changing with it. So I want to mention this a little bit and talk about what to do when you hear news about different stocks, whether it's coronavirus, whether it's something else. And news will always make a shift in the market, what people think about certain stocks, their sentiment. And as the stock prices change, I think it's important to pay attention to what's going on. The thing is, don't overreact to the news a lot of times. It can be overblown, very publicized because it's a hot topic at that particular time, but we're not only looking for the price of the stock at one time. A lot of us are looking for the stock price that it's going to be in 20 or 30 years from now, because we're kind of collecting these stocks and just building and building and building. So don't over think the things that are going on with all the news that is coming out. So our job as investors is to kind of weed through all that news that's going out there and kind of know your stocks. It's very important that when you buy a stock, you know the stock that you're buying, you know what it produces, what that business is, and why you like that stock, and know where you think this stock is going to be going in the future. If you have a good understanding of your company, then you'll know that certain news items that are coming out are not going to be a major part or a major player in your stock. For instance, so coronavirus has been affecting several stocks, and those are very good to follow at this point. I think you want to follow the news and see, okay, what has it affected? And I'm going to mention a few stocks that might be of some interest for some of you to purchase. Maybe the price comes down a little bit. But we have to stay on top of these situations. Now, the truth of the matter is, when these medical emergencies happen, the governments jump on these things so fast these days that even though, yes, there's always a potential for a widespread disease, that now they are curtailing how fast these diseases travel because they're putting certain blocks on travel and not letting people travel within the country, between countries. And so that really helps to slow down the progression of some of these diseases. It still gets out, it still moves around, but it's much slower, and a lot of times it can maintain and contain these diseases much faster. Plus, in addition, like for me personally, I think Ebola was more scary than the coronavirus at this time. Ebola was definitely a scary thing because very contagious. And now what happened was they produced a vaccine for Ebola, not widespreadly used, but they're probably shipping it over to those places that are endemic that have the disease, and then giving that immunization there so that they can get kind of stop it at its core. In this case, they're already working on potential immunizations for this virus. The great thing about this, and I'm going to get a little bit medical here, is that they're now producing immunizations that can totally block these viruses. Before it was, because viruses change so fast, they can't stop the viruses and they keep on changing, mutating, but now they're affecting a different part of the virus that doesn't change. And when you stop that part of the virus from being produced or being passed on, then you're eliminating the virus, and it's going to produce much more immunity. And so things are going to get a lot better a lot sooner than we think. Anyway, let's keep on going, get off the medical thing, and keep on going into the stocks. So once a scare passes by and the news kind of becomes old news, and now news becomes old news very, very quickly, stocks tend to go back to the prices that they used to be, or even better at that point. So let's kind of talk about some of those stocks that may be affected a little bit. You think, well, China. So we're talking about travel. We're talking about so airlines, definitely, maybe even cruise ships, possibly. Delta Airline is one. United Airline is another one that you can look into that may be affected. Now we're also looking at certain locations like Wynn Resorts is also possibly affected. It does have major play in China as well. But the one I am interested in a little bit is because I had some stock of this and then I sold it. Is Disney. Disney is affected slightly as well in China because they had to close down their resorts in Shanghai and Hong Kong, the Disneyland in Hong Kong as well. So they may be affected a little bit more. And if that price comes down just a little bit, if it comes down just a little bit, that's something I might be interested in buying. Now, we listen to this news and we don't respond to this news if your idea is to have long-term ideology, long-term gains, dividend gains, all of that is just already in play and you're not even worried about it. You don't really have to listen to the news. Just let it roll out and let it play out however it's going to play out, and you just keep on going. But you do want to pay attention if you have stocks or you've been following companies and you know that they may be affected and the price comes down and you can buy them at a better price. Keep on buying stocks at a better price. Don't be afraid to buy more stocks, because that's the perfect time to find great deals, is when there's any turmoil, anything that's going on that might be affecting that stock price, and that would be a very good time to buy. Now, I say don't respond to these news scares unless you can buy more shares at a low price. But the next thing is actually biotech stocks. Biotech stocks, you almost have to respond with the news sometimes, especially if you're buying in phase 1, phase 2, or phase 3. These biotech stocks that are early on, any little news that makes the price go higher, it's probably a very good idea to sell, because the price will probably come right back down again. This is where a lot of people make their money on biotech stocks. There's some companies that have very good drugs, but if you keep that and it doesn't go up as soon as you want it to, or that company runs out of money, or that company is not bought out by another company, you might end up losing money, because they will go and do reverse splits, as we have seen with many companies. BPMX is one of them. OBMP is another one. For instance, with OBMP, I had a very good opportunity to make a lot of money right as soon as I was buying them, because it went almost from like a penny to 3 pennies, and it was a very cheap stock with a very good drug that's coming out hopefully soon. But we have lost money on that one because it went through a reverse split, and so now with the stocks that we have, I'm just letting them sit there, and whatever happens happens. That's one of the stocks I bought just to put some money in, to say if whatever happens, if it goes great, then it's going to go great. If it goes bad, then too bad. It's just one of those things. But it's still hanging in there. It's at a very low price, but hopefully that will turn around. But biotech stocks are one of those things that you want to pay attention to news. You want to know what's going on. You want to know when to sell. And don't be afraid to sell. Don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. Very, very important. Do not get greedy. If it goes up, you're making 20%, 30%, sell it. If it comes back down again at some point and you think that company is still worth a chance, then buy it again. And that way you can make some money on that. So there is places and times where you can respond to these news items. Biotech stocks, some of the best companies that are out there, that the price will come down a little bit. Like I said, I'm interested in Disney for sure, and maybe some of these other companies that may be affected a little bit. So don't be scared by the news items that come out. Pay attention to them, yes. Look at them, yes. See if you can make some good buys. Yes, that's a very important thing to do. But don't get freaked out. Don't sell your stock if you bought it at a good price and then it dropped down, and then you say, oh, I'm losing all this money, let me sell it now. Unless you know that company is going to go out of business, then sell. But if it's not going out of business, it's just taking a hit, let it take its hit and see if it just bounces back in the years to come and you make your money back with no problems. As long as you don't use that money, you don't need that money, and it's just sitting there in the company, and the company is a strong company, just let it grow and it'll come right back. You guys, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. We are very excited that Super Bowl is coming up, and so we have to take a little break from doing the stock videos, and we'll probably do some other Super Bowl videos and some sports talk, of course, like we always do. And please go on ahead and share this with everybody so that hopefully this channel can keep on growing and growing and growing, and we can keep on sharing more videos with you guys, man. We love it. Thank you. Take care.